Minnesota home, having a conversation, a dialogue with my good friend, Brett Louviere. He's in a coffee shop in Mississippi, and we are communing long distance here, and it's been coming for a very long time. Brett first caught my eye, I think, on the USA Facebook group, and it was almost exactly a year ago today that he first emailed me, and that was because of some comments that I had made about how wonderfully he read A Course of Love. He put up a couple of videos about just reading A Course of Love, and he had people in tears. And so that was kind of the way things began for us. And since then, Brett has been doing daily quotes of A Course of Love on our Facebook site, and we're all really appreciative of that. So welcome, Brett.
Thank you. Thank you. It is. It's been a pleasure knowing you also as we went on through this process.
Mm-hmm.
The recordings were done when I was at a different stage in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's not where I am today. I was more comfortable. I used to do them in my trailer at work when I would get off at work early in the morning around 2 o'clock or whatever, and that would be my God moment.
I know they were amazing to listen to because we knew that. I didn't know you were in a trailer, but I knew you were still at work somewhere. And to have you doing this reading there was just, I mean, they weren't good technically, but they were good in terms of heart, you know?
Yeah, because I felt each, the words just flew. And I remember the one about my adopted father. And that one just, the gift of tenderness. It was something that he was always a good father, and I never really had a good father. I knew I had one, but not the consoling one. And it helped me. And I've been wanting to get back into it, but the audio or whatever, we'll work through that. But that's my goal, is to get back into them.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you to read a little bit today, but I don't know if the other of you will be very good with this either because of the noise in the background.
It's the background music. Everything's pretty much going around, so it's all right. It's all right. It's my favorite place to be. So.
Well, then we're just going to ignore that. One of the passages that you were talking about wanting to read, or that you just read, was that of the Well of Spirit.
Yes, that is actually, I have it. I have my book here.
I figured if you had it. Yeah.
Yes.
Page 459.
Yes, 459. And then the paragraphs 11.10 is where it is.
Yeah.
It's talking about an empty bucket. Also, it fascinated me with these words. And I think the thing about this was that the wording just came straight here. It was into the heart. It was just, I found my answer, what I was looking for. Because at that time, I even posted this on the website one day as something that I knew was going to be. And I love how it says, yet your heart is the well of spirit from which true answers are drawn. But if your heart is a full well, a wellspring from which you can continually draw. My question to you would be in this would be, how was that vision? I mean, what kind of vision you had when you were when it was coming through spirit? I know the empty bucket and all that, but it's like these it's amazing how spirit speaks. We don't know sometimes. We could know.
Feeling of that, having like a ladle, having a ladle and being able to draw from like a spring of water or something, just, yeah. So I guess there was actually, because I remember the ladle. And one of the things that you and I talk about is when you do get that feeling of an empty bucket, so I always want to say that when Jesus says these things, like you'll never draw, it'll never be empty. It doesn't mean we'll never feel empty. We have those periods, and they really can feel like they're crushing our hearts, and yet we usually come out of them with an expanded heart. And that's what I feel that I've felt with you.
And that's what I'm getting out of it too. It's not a coincidence that we're talking about this today, but that again, it's almost like a calming spirit that no matter what you're going through at the time, you might be going through anxiety or depression or something that I've been going through the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. And I do feel that empty, but when I dig or when I go into the spring water, I feel refreshed. And I said, yes, I can accomplish something that I want to do in my life. But I'm never empty. You might feel it, but you're never empty. You have to feel it. You have to feel it in order to get to know it. It's a chill bumps, right? And I think that's what the beauty of the dialogues is that I'm starting to get involved more into. It's hearing these things or this one thing out of them that just, whoa. That's the gift. That's the gift of the Course.
The whoa. Yeah.
It's like that whoa moment, like, oh man, what happened? So I think that's where I'm at. And it's a perfect, and also it's the desire. I want the desire not to be made, to let go of the ego. To desire to let it go. It's already gone, but we somehow seem to be putting it back in there, and we got to let it go. I read your blog, the one about Dawi and the next one, and what really struck me was about the ego. I was listening to his talk between y'all, the dialogue. Mm-hmm. And what amazed me was when the ego is not a part, the spirit can come in and dwell within you. It's a fascinating thing. But when I allow ego to come in, I'm a total wreck.
Yeah.
And just realizing that, I don't have to do that today. That's the miracle of it all. That I can be my own person and I can ladle from the wellspring. That's where I'm going with it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you don't have to feel small. To me, that's sort of an imagery I think I had of myself before. I was just sort of this small, inconsequential person. And the dialogues and that loss of the ego and the acceptance of our true self, it lets us feel the magnificence of who we are. And then, that just naturally carries forward. And it's like you see the magnificence of everyone.
Yes, it's a magnificence of the open eye. It's like everything, that middle eye, everything they call the third eye. It's like it starts broadening, where it's not me. I'm not this little minuscule person. Mm-hmm. And that's the amazing part about it too. I don't have to be that little snail or that, all that.
Yeah.
So it makes me realize a lot. So.
And that language of the embrace too, I know that's also one of your favorite parts, but it's like, for me, it's like that always being embraced, no matter what's going on, that sort of feeling like, and so then I can still be down when I'm down. I really feel strongly that we have to feel all of our feelings. Whether, quit labeling them bad and good and negative and positive and just feel them. And sometimes they're not going to be, excited, peaceful, joyful, but they're going to be deep reflections of something going on inside of us. And then we can just accept all of that and not give it to the ego.
Exactly. And if we surrender it and we come from a wholehearted experience, the whole goal of the Course then it becomes joy, it becomes passion, it becomes desire, it becomes all the good stuff that we've probably been wanting for so long, that the ego has made us suffer to the point where we can't elevate to a higher level. Because there's no way you can balance that off. Because that's where it creates the tension. That's what I find.